Hi everyone, it's Karen here with a new layout tutorial created for My Creative Scrapbook using their limited edition kit for August 2017. It features the beautiful collection from Prima marketing called Saint Tropez, and this is my third layout using the kit. For the background, I use the Port of Saint Tropez paper from the collection. This is the second layout I created with this paper, as it's one of my it's basically my favorite, and two of them came in my kit, so I knew I wanted to create at the beginning just with one, and then I realized that I love it so much I have to create another one, and it's completely different than the other one. So I'm going to the back of it and I'm adding some Distress Oxide ink in the vintage photo color with my blender tool, just in the back, in the area where I wanted to cut as wooden slats. I love wood grain patterns, especially I love making them look as if it's like they're worn out and they're kind of like rolling onto themselves like bark. So what I do is I basically cut all the strips down in the area where I want to roll them, and then I just start rolling them. Sometimes I wet it a little bit to kind of make it a little bit easier to roll, but the reason why I put the brown behind is because I didn't want the pattern from the back of the paper to show so much or so strongly. I wanted it to be more brown. It still shows a little bit of it, but that kind of makes it look as if it's part of the wood grain. And I didn't put them evenly like the rolls. I wanted them to be kind of in different heights to make it look more natural and realistic. So I've done this many times before in different layouts in the past, and I really love this technique, and it's really fun to kind of make it look as if the wood is rolling. If you do miss a little bit of the brownish, you can just go and get the ink again and then use it to basically cover the rolls with brown. So now I took another paper. This is called French Sands. It's also from the same collection, and it has a kind of a map pattern onto it, and I just cut a few pieces where the land part of the map was, so I could put it behind the area where I had rolled the paper so it wouldn't be blank. So I was kind of choosing which one would be the best one, and I think I even still switched it around, because sometimes once you cut the paper, you realize that a piece will look better in another area. So it doesn't really matter, you have to just pick one that will look really nice in the background. And this paper was a bit too light, so you'll see that I will even alter this paper as well, but I'm just cutting the pieces and then just gluing them to the back. To help them match the background, I took the vintage photo color and again went with my blending tool and just basically added some vintage photo Distress Oxide ink everywhere. Then I took some glue and basically just used it to glue these pieces to the background, just so it would show underneath the rolled paper. I found it a bit too even, so I actually took my spray bottle and sprinkled on top of the Distress Oxide, and of course it did that amazing Distress Oxide effect, and just using a wipe I removed some of that ink, and it created this really cool effect in the background, almost to look like wood grain to match the whole layout. Then I took another piece of the map and did the same thing as I had done with the other papers, just inked it with the Distress Oxide ink, the vintage photo, and then just sprayed it and took away some of the ink to create that really cool effect. Of course I heat set it like the other ones, and then I took my distressing tool from Prima and just kind of distressed the edges to make it look really like kind of like an old map, and this was going to be the mat for my photo. I also took some cheesecloth that came in the kit, and to stain it I used some Distress Oxide ink, the vintage photo one as well, and all I do is I put it on my mat and then I spray it with some water, and then all I do is kind of run the cheesecloth inside the ink and it stains it and it looks like kind of vintage antique. Once my cheesecloth was dry from the ink, I took it and put it in the center, kind of where I wanted my photo to be, and took my scissors and just started fraying it to really have those really nice wisps that the cheesecloth usually has. And that's where I was going to basically have my whole layout composition, and I was going to mat the photo with the paper that I had created. I put some glue in certain areas just so the cheesecloth will stay in place so I could put all the other embellishments. Then I put the mat and mounted my photo with 3D tape, a foam tape. So I put some also on the actual mat and then on my photo as well. I did take the photo and distressed it a little bit as well. I really kind of wanted to match the rest of the layout, so I just used my distressing tool to just distress the edges a little bit. Then I started embellishing with some flowers. I used the Catalina flowers from the St. Tropez collection, which also come in the kit. I took a few of those because they were the perfect color for these, so I just started playing around to figure out which is the best place to put them. I chose a chipboard title from the collection. It says Journey, and then a couple of other cheap chipboard pieces to just add and embellish with them. Since the chipboard title was so white, I took some of the vintage photo distress oxide ink and just kind of added a little bit of a brownish tinge to it, because I wanted it to kind of blend in with the rest of the embellishments and the layout. Of course, I can't have a beach-themed layout without my precious shells. So again, I took my jar of shells, which I've added in my other layouts as well, and just basically put them around. These ones I bought at the dollar store, but I also collect them in different trips because I love adding shells in different beach-themed layouts. I felt like the areas where I had rolled the paper in the background were too bare, so I took some more cheesecloth and stained it the same way I had done before. And then I used the cheesecloth to kind of add underneath the rolled up paper, so it would kind of stick out from underneath and look really distressed and match the rest of the layout. Besides adding some more shells in some areas, I took the metal embellishments from the St. Tropez collection that also come in the kit and are gorgeous. They kind of have that patina effect, and I just added a couple of them on my layout to make it really, like, you know, match up everything together and just look really, really beach themed. I still felt like my Catalina flowers were too whitish, so I wanted them to kind of match the rest of the layout. So I took some of the Distress Oxide ink and I just added them to my mat with some water, and then using a paintbrush just started painting the flowers around to kind of stain them a little bit darker and make them match the rest of the layout. This mat is really incredible. I love this mat by Ken Oliver, and it's listed below in the description area. And what I like about it is that it really gets dirty, but you can clean it so easily, and it really is a great way to use it, and heat resist, of course. Finally, I took some Color Boom spray from Prima. This is in the Cobalt color, and just started adding a little bit of blue in certain areas using a paintbrush. Basically, I just dipped into the bottle and just basically added a little bit of blue in certain areas to kind of bring the blue from the layout back into the center and basically have it all match up. I also added some splatters with the blue bottle as well using the spout. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my video, please hit the thumbs up and share it with your friends. For more inspiration, subscribe to my channel or visit my website to sign up for my newsletters. Bye!